What if I told you the Warriors are not my pick to win the 2023 championship? Actually, let me rephrase that. The Warriors are not my pick to win the 2023 championship if injuries are not a factor, and unfortunately, they will be. Looking at the LA Clippers roster, they by far have the deepest team in NBA history, and to be honest, it's not even close. They are much deeper than any Warriors championship roster and have so much talent that their entire bench unit could probably be a starting lineup on a playoff team. Yes, in my view, they are that deep. Let's go over why this LA Clippers roster is the most talented team I've ever seen, and why I believe they are the biggest threat to the Warriors' quest for a repeat. The Warriors and Clippers easily have the two best starting lineups in the NBA. When you talk about star talent, role players, and defense, these two teams have it all. I'm expecting the Warriors and Clippers to both be top 5 in offense and defense. The main factor that really separates the Clippers from the Warriors, however, is depth. This Clippers team has done a sneaky good job of acquiring the best role players at every position and making sure they're at least 2 deep in all guard and forward positions. They have the ability to switch 1 through 5 and space teams out like no team has ever done. But as I said, the key factor is health. The Clippers always seem to have some freak injury or bad luck roll their way. My prediction is if Kawhi never tore his ACL in June 2021, the Clippers would have been the 2021 NBA champions. That team was filled with shooting and defense, and we already saw how good that team was without Kawhi. Now, Steve Ballmer has put all his eggs in one basket with this year's Clippers squad, as he extended, re-signed, and traded for the best of the best at each position. If the Clippers are fully healthy and don't win the championship, it will be a failed season for Steve Ballmer and the Clippers. Having said that, let's compare the Clippers' 10-man rotation to the Warriors' 10-man rotation. So the starting point guard matchup is an easy one. Curry easily beats out Wall or Jackson depending on who starts. No disrespect to Wall and Jackson, who are both very talented players by the way, but Curry is the better player. Now here's where things get a bit tricky. Paul George normally plays the 2 guard, even though he has the size and versatility to play the 3 or 4. This is definitely a good matchup between George and Klay Thompson at the 2, but I feel like at this point, PG-13 has the edge. He's a better all-around scorer and playmaker, and his height and defensive capabilities put him over the top. So far it's pretty even, but these next matchups are definitely close. At the 3 we have Kawhi versus Wiggins. No offense to Wiggins, but Leonard is clearly the better player, and though I think Wiggins would do a good job containing Leonard, Leonard can just rise up and shoot over Wiggins anytime he wants. At the 4 spot we have Draymond versus Marcus Morris Sr. or Nick Batum, depending on who Ty Lue wants to start. To be honest, this matchup is pretty even because Morris Sr. and Batum are both terrific defenders and are much better shooters and offensive players than Draymond. I'm going to reluctantly give the edge to Morris and Batum here only because of their shooting abilities, and their length might be able to bother Draymond. This one could go either way, but for now I take Morris or Batum over Green at this point. The starting 5 matchup, however, is also very tricky. This battle between Looney and Zubac is very evenly matched, as they are both solid rebounders and defenders who have tremendously contributed to their teams' winning ways over the past 4 seasons. Overall, however, I'd say Zubac is the better player, but Looney is the better defender. Zubac is more well-rounded offensively as a scorer, free throw shooter, and in some ways a screener. This is also a matchup that could go either way most nights, but I give this slight edge to Zubac. That gives the Clippers a 3-2 matchup advantage. The only question is, are Kawhi and Paul George enough to overcome the Splash Bros, Wiggins, and Draymond? Well, I think the next part of the video will answer that question, as we're going to compare the bench units of the Clippers and Warriors to determine who has the edge in regards to role players. First off, let's do the backup guard positions. Jordan Poole and Donte DiVincenzo are the backups for Golden State, while either John Wall or Reggie Jackson and Norman Powell are the backups for the Clippers. I do believe that Powell is a better overall player than DiVincenzo, so Powell wins that matchup, even though I believe DiVincenzo is a better playmaker and a slightly better defender. With the backup point guard spot, I honestly don't know, because Wall, Reggie, and Poole are all very streaky players. But based on Poole's age and the scoring talent he showed last year, I'm going to give Poole the edge. These backup point guard spots are very competitive for sure, and these matchups could go either way, but so far I would have the bench matchups as 1-1. Next, let's move to the backup forward spots. These are very tight matchups as well, but let's see what the matchups could be. For the Clippers, they'll likely put out some combination of Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, Nick Batum, or Marcus Morris Sr., depending on who Ty Lue decides to start or sit out on a nightly basis. You could also throw Amir Coffey into the equation, and he too is a really solid 3-and-D wing. Plus, all these players I just mentioned are at minimum 40% 3-point shooters. and the Warriors don't have anyone besides Curry and Thompson that have shot over 40% from 3 in their careers. From the Warriors' perspective at the backup forward spots, they'll likely put out some combination of Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, JaMychal Green, and Andre Iguodala. Right away, I believe the Clippers have the clear edge. Mann, Batum, Morris, and Kennard would all be starting on most playoff caliber teams, and the Warriors' main backup forwards are still super young and inexperienced or are nearing the tail end of their careers. Most likely, however, the real forward matchup would be Terrence Mann and Batum versus Moses Moody and JaMychal Green, in which I believe Mann and Batum come out on top. They have proved themselves in the playoffs and have much more experience and continuity, as well as better shooting that puts them over the top. Moody, however, might end up having a better season than Mann because of an increased role and his shooting ability, but for now, Mann and Batum have the edge. And the last position is the backup center spot. I wanted to include Covington here specifically for the Clippers, as he has played the small ball 5 before in his career, and that's the position he'll likely play considering all the talented forwards I already mentioned on the Clippers roster, and the fact that the Clippers actually don't have a true backup 5. Covington in this scenario would be matched up against James Wiseman, and this one is quite tough to analyze. Covington is one of the premier 3-and-D players in the NBA, and he can guard 1 through 5, which Wiseman hasn't shown the ability to do yet. Covington is also a much more prolific 3-point shooter, so he has the advantage there too. Wiseman, however, does have a height advantage and is a better shot blocker and paint scorer, but I'll give the edge to Covington because he's the more proven player. Much like with Moody's matchup, however, Wiseman could be the better player this season than Covington because of his opportunity and how easy the game will be made for him in the Warriors system. With all that said, the Clippers win the bench matchups 4-1 and win the overall matchups 7-3. Is this any indicator that the Clippers would actually beat out the Warriors and win the championship? Possibly. This is obvious looking at these rosters on paper, but as I alluded to, injuries will be a factor, and unfortunately not everyone will be healthy. All I know is the Clippers are absolutely coming for the Warriors. They've been building this team up for the past few years, and Steve Ballmer and Lawrence Frank have facilitated all these sneaky good signings and trades to form one of the greatest rosters ever assembled. If this plan comes to fruition, I do believe the LA Clippers will be the 2023 champions, but if injuries and bad luck occur, the Warriors will be in the midst of a repeat. Let me know what you guys think of the 2023 LA Clippers roster. I no doubt believe they are the biggest threat to the Warriors because of their depth and two-way talent, which is not even comparable to the rest of the NBA's title contenders. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.